Greetings Aries and welcome to your in-depth monthly horoscope for August 2023 for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout details to look out for, but please stay with me. I will go through your sign in detail and share with you the influences and timings particularly specific for you. Now, your ruler is Mars, and Mars forges an absolutely incredible link with Jupiter, the planet of good fortune, right through the first week, but they're exactly in this relationship on the first day. So that's really exciting for you. You can see you roar into this month. We also have the North Node in your sign, angling beautifully with Venus in the sign of Leo. This is going to be very triggering in a positive way when it comes to your social situation. And in fact, Venus will be aligning with the Sun at the heart of this month, which could be very good for you in terms of your social interaction, any creative pursuits you've got, and perhaps even your love life too. Now, we are going to have two more retrogrades begin this month, and also we have a blue moon. So much to share with you. I can't wait to go through it for you. I'd like to share with you a very special opportunity. This year is absolutely racing by, and year 2024 is speeding towards us. However, if you order your year 2024 personal horoscope forecast now, based on your unique birth data, I will prepare for you the rest of year 2023 free of charge. But also within my package of 30% off, you can get your character analysis report, your life roadmap. This helps you to understand the patterns that have played out in your journey so far. Some of these definitely give us opportunities, but others can be more challenging, and a more intimate understanding of these helps us to seize our potential more firmly. Please see the link beneath this video for more on this unique opportunity. So Aries, let's unpack what August holds in store for you. It really is quite the month. And it begins, as I mentioned before, with your ruler Mars in such a brilliant angle with Jupiter, the planet of fortune and growth. Now, Jupiter in Taurus is slowed down a little bit, but you could say the same too about your ruler Mars in Virgo, which is a much drier location for Mars to be in, because Mars is very much about living in the moment and getting stuck in. In the sign of Virgo, it makes it more analytical and a bit more considered. So it wouldn't surprise me if you did try to grapple with your resources and squeeze a bit more out of your budget and be very determined to do so. But then equally, if you're a very creative person, all the planetary influences at the start of this month can see you combining your talent with a down-to-earth approach, which actually really can be a wonderful combination of energies to gain attraction. But there are other social considerations, because there is a full moon on the first day, providing a backdrop for the first 2 weeks of this month. And it is in the friendly, communicative and social sign of Aquarius. But on the other side of the heavens, we have the Sun in its home zone of Leo, along with Venus retrograde. And this combination is really urging you to focus on your individual talents, what makes you unique, and also your sense of gorgeousness. And that's boosted because Venus is linking to the North Node in your sign. So anything that makes you divinely individual is definitely given an opportunity to be showcased. The problem is, Aries, it's all about that old maxim. We can't please all of the people all of the time. And over the first 2 weeks of this month, I think quite a few people may want a piece of you, which is very flattering in some ways, but not if it's deflecting you from what you really want to do for you. So you may need to be utterly single-minded as this month begins. And therefore, if you're letting someone down because you can't make an invitation they provide to you, and you are wanting to focus on what's important to you, because Saturn, the planet of restriction and in retrograde, is in an opposition with Mercury, the planet of precision, but also of communication, in the detailed sign of Virgo, along with Mars, there's a part of you that could actually say how you feel in quite a pointed and precise way that someone could find quite difficult. So it's important, particularly with Mercury going into its pre-retrograde shadow on the 4th, which is going to go on. The retrograde period will go on right through the 30th of September. So communication could get a little brittle on the back of that opposition and the pre-retrograde shadow. Then, of course, the retrograde will begin itself on the 23rd. So just be aware of that. Also, the Sun is in a right angle with Jupiter as this month begins. And this is a completely contrasting energy to Mars and Jupiter, because the Sun in Leo is very warm, it's very affectionate, but it's also very exuberant. And its angle with Jupiter can bring out the most generous side of your nature, or the side of you that wants to be more speculative in your approach. So we've got some real competing, contrasting energies right at the start of this month. So it depends what's going on in your unique situation. If you're focusing on your finance and resources, I think Saturn and Mercury can actually urge you to think a little bit more on the conservative side. That's not a bad thing. The Sun and Jupiter's right angle could see you more speculative if you're wanting to encourage some growth in your situation, but you will have to get over the tension that Saturn and Mercury can create, even a little bit of anxiety potentially. But there is definitely a lot of excitement around all this, and I think that's a really good thing to have. And if you are someone who's very much attuned to helping good causes, the Sun's right angle to Jupiter can see you do something that really can please someone. It could be a thoughtful text message, it could be a gift, it could be a donation. But also in week 2, Mercury, despite being in its pre-retrograde shadow, is forging a beautiful link with Jupiter. So when these two together, it's deal central, because Jupiter's about trade and Mercury's about commerce. Jupiter can also be in the sign of Taurus, very much about money. So your precision can be rewarded. I think it's about finding the balance between that part of you that can have an instinct for situations more than any other zodiac sign, and betting on yourself, not doubting the sixth sense you have. And if there is something that you feel really could work out for you, go in for it, but make sure you do your due diligence, you do your research. If your thrust at the present time is much more to do with your social life and your romantic situation, between the 11th and the 14th, that beautiful link between Venus and the North Node in your sign is augmented by Venus connecting to the Sun, and it becomes exact in a cazimi. That's a traditional astrological term for when Venus is exactly in the heart of the Sun, because it's in retrograde. So it's this side of the Sun, and at that point, despite the retrograde, the magnification of your gorgeousness is definitely going to be at a high. But of course, Venus retrograde could also mean some rethinking around a relationship situation, and perhaps you're going to see someone in a deeper way. That's not a bad thing. You can just see them for perhaps who they really are. And then from the 12th to the 19th, Uranus replaces Jupiter in its square with the Sun. So once more, this could tempt you to be a bit more extravagant, a bit more risk-taking in your approach. And the new moon, which occurs in Leo on the 16th, can definitely help you to set your intentions when it comes to demonstrating to people your flair, your artistry, your individuality. Anything that gives you pleasures can definitely be boosted in the following 4 weeks. But with Uranus in the mix, you could find yourself, despite those more cautious energies of earlier in the month, you could still find yourself tempted to splash out, do something more spontaneous, or to break out from any restrictions. But then on the 23rd, we have a really big day because the Sun makes its way into Virgo. It joins up with Mars, but also with Mercury. So that's putting a big emphasis on the most practical strand of your situation. If you have felt full of desire to manifest the pleasurable side of life in the first 2/3 of this month, what the second part of this month is saying to you, this second phase, it is about getting really grounded and focusing on those details. And with Mercury going retrograde on the 23rd, this could be a time when you are thinking about the job that you do, the actual details of that particular role. It may also be to do with getting your world running a little bit more efficiently. You may be thinking about a diet. It's possible that there will be some appointments that you need to attend in the latter part of this month, all right through to the 30th of next month. But on the 28th, your ruler repositions itself. It moves into the sign of Libra. Now, Mars in Libra is detrimented, but I actually think Mars in Libra has some real opportunities for you to assert yourself, especially around your boundaries. So if you are in a professional situation where you do tend to be a bit of a people pleaser and cover for other people in some way, or be very self-sacrificing, Mars is just reminding you that you need to also stay in your own power. But if it's your love life that really is your focus, Mars can also give you much more self-drive and self-belief to take a little bit more of a risk, to move out of your comfort zone, to connect to others. Now, Uranus goes retrograde through to the 27th of January on the 29th, and therefore we have, along with Mercury's retrograde this month, a big pack of retrograde planets. But then on the 31st we have a blue moon, and this blue moon, this Sturgeon supermoon, is going to be conjunct Saturn. So it's in Pisces and it's in the most psychological part of your situation. So I feel that having Mars on your 7th house is going to be helpful to you. Mars in the 7th house synergy chart between two partners can be challenging because it can mean that one partner kind of wants to get their own way to the exclusion of finding mutual harmony. But I feel for you, because there's such a lot of focus right at the end of this month on the 6th and 12th houses, anything to do with the give and get around your physical and psychological energy is what you need to be focusing on over the following 2 weeks. So if, for example, an appointment does come up that's been delayed and you have demands at work that you feel that you don't want to let someone down on, I would prioritize your own welfare. So finding the balance between being, wanting to do our best for others, being sacrificing, covering for people that we have some kind of connection to, that's all good, all well and good, but it's very important that you do think about balancing your physical, practical and everyday reality with your psychological, emotional and spiritual sphere too. So that's what that blue moon is asking you to do. So what a month, Aries. It's absolutely action-packed. There are opportunities to work on the practical sphere and to stay very grounded right at the start of this month with Mars and Mercury in the sign of Virgo. But once the Sun moves there on the 23rd and Mercury goes retrograde, and we have that blue moon in the sign of Pisces just as the month comes to a close, I feel that some of the more flamboyant energies at the start of this month really need to be put to one side. But this ending of this month gives you a fantastic opportunity to make sure that the things that are really important to you are not invalidated because the background support services or focus or oxygen that you need to feed into whatever it is that keeps your reality intact. So in other words, work, health, diet, fitness, all those things are very important. So you can have some very wonderful fun on the back of the Leo new moon, the connection between Venus and the North Node in your sign, and the gorgeous cazimi at the heart of this month in terms of socially or romantically. But I think some real practical issues are going to be calling out to you as this month comes to a close. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Please do like, comment or subscribe.